Friends, today I have a new toy that I'm excited to share with you. It is a digital microscope that we can use to see what exactly is going on with our edge while we sharpen our favorite knives. And this is going to be really cool. But before we get started, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. It's what keeps the channel going. Thank you. So I bought this thing off of Amazon for about $40. It was one of the higher rated ones on the website. It is supposed to work with Mac or Android, but the download for Mac's not working. So I had to use my Android phone. I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to be able to film and not just take the snapshots. But I'll show you what I came up with here in a little bit. And also, I thought the magnification would be adjustable. That was my mistake. It's marked 16,000 times magnification, and that's what you get. You can focus, but there is no, 50, 100, 200, so forth. It's plain 1600, and it is a little bit difficult to get it to focus. Here's the manual. Not much in there. Just a kind of a simple little Chinese toy, that's all it is, but it's kind of cool. You'll see. So our victim knife today belongs to a co-worker named Derek. He had seen the video where I sharpened Kevin's Spyderco and asked me to help him out with his Benchmade. And once again, I let him borrow my Mannix 2 while I have his knife, so I need to get this done and get the knife swapped back out. Now the blade is made from 154 cm, which should not be confused with CPN 154, which is a powdered steel, but the 154 cm is still a good steel. It appears to be an Osbourne model based on the marking on the blade, and it's a spring assist knife, which I'm not very fond of. So I grabbed the Osbourne and I clamped it into my Hapstone RS sharpener and grabbed my new toy, the digital microscope, and started examining the edge. It took me a little while to get used to trying to find the edge and get it focused, but once I did, I realized that this blade is a lot worse than by the naked eye. Well, this knife has seen a lot of abuse. Gouges all the way up the edge. And take a look at this huge gouge up here by the tip. Let me tell you, I really began to start worrying about my Mannix I loaned out, so I need to get this thing sharpened and back to him. But that's where this microscope's going to make it handy, to be able to examine the edge before you start. It kind of gives you a better idea of what you're starting with. I mean, you got these big nicks in here. I didn't even notice that were that deep. And working along the edge there, I realized I need to reprofile this whole knife. So that's going to tell me what stones I need to start out with and how to plan my sharpening process on this knife. So first thing, I got to grab my box of stones and choose the correct stones. I have more information on these on my Hapstone RS video number 2. Check my playlist for that video. So we don't want to use these Spydercos, they're too fine. And I don't want to use the Gritomatics. I'm going to use my Venev Diamond stones, because these are going to start at 80 and take me all the way up to 1200. And that's exactly what we're going to need to reprofile the blade and give it a fine enough edge to make Derek happy. Now the second step is we need to decide what kind of bevel to put on the blade and decide if we're going to go with a micro bevel. And this is also something I go into great detail in my Hapstone RS review video number 2. So once again, please check the playlist to learn more about micro bevels. But we are not going to add one to Derek's knife due to the fact that he does not maintain the edge on a regular basis. So a micro bevel would not be of any benefit to him. So when I envisioned what Derek's going to use this knife for, and the fact that it's a high saber grind, and the damage that is already on the blade, especially at the tip, I come up with 18 degrees. I think is going to be the best answer for what we need to do with this blade. So here we are setting up the Hapstone to 18 degrees. Down below you get it close. Up top you can do the fine adjustment and get it right where you need. And we set up our drain pan. We got our Venev Diamond stones, and we break out our water bottle that's got just tap water and a little bit of Dawn, a couple drops in there. And we want to make sure we keep these stones nice and wet while we're working. That's what the little Weber drain pan's for. I get those at Lowe's in the barbecue section. And now we just grind away on the knife and work it with 80 grit, and then we're going to look at it under the microscope here. Alright. And after a few minutes with the 80 grit, you can see how quick it cleaned up the bevel on the edge of the blade there. You can see the scratch pattern, but when we go up here and look at the tip, we still got a big gouge, so we got to go back and work it again. But the advantage here is that we were able to look at that under the microscope while it's still in the knife sharpener. So we're not unclamping it, we're not going to the next stone, finding out later we still have a gouge. We can examine it between stones and decide, are we done with that stone? Is it time for the next stone? Or do we need to continue on with the first stone until we get the blade edge completely clean? And even after we get all the nicks and gouges corrected, we can continue to use the microscope as we work our way up through the different grits of stone, checking our scratch patterns to see, have we cleaned it up enough for the next level stone? So, pretty cool. Here I am checking it after the 400. Is it good enough to go to the 8? Looks that way. Looks pretty clean. So now that we're ready to move on to the 800 grit, we go ahead and change that out, load up the arm, get it on the Hapstone RS, and make sure we lube it up and start grinding away with the 800. We'll work both sides of the blade until we think we got it about right. We'll check it with the microscope and make sure that we got all the harsh scratches out before we move up to the 1200. And just keep working that way. And here's a photo of what it looked like after the 800. Pretty clean. Got a few scratches left. So switched up to the 1200. Working away, and we're going to change it up a little bit here. Once we get the pattern cleaned up, we're going to start swapping back and forth a little bit more often, and eventually I'm going to get to the point that I'm going to just go in one direction. My idea here is that is going to reduce the scratch pattern a little bit while still staying with the same stone. So swap it, work it a few times, swap it, work it a few times. And like I said, just going to go in the one direction now until we get it cleaned up. And I'm really reducing the amount of pressure I put on the blade here, just trying to lighten it up. Once again, one direction, light strokes, and just trying to be as clean and gentle as I can be. This is going to be our final edge before stropping it with the leather strop. And this is what our picture is going to look like. You can see that that edge is it's pretty clean, it's pretty mirror. There's still some deep scratches in there, and I could have went back and cleaned those up, but you know what? It's not my knife, and I don't have all night to keep sharpening it. So I took the knife and went ahead and removed it, and I sprayed it down with my favorite G96 gun treatment. Let it soak overnight. I had to remove the thumb stud earlier to get it in the clamp properly. Another reason I don't like thumb studs on knives. But now I'm going to put it back in, so I'm just going to put a dab of blue Loctite on there. And before I install it back in, I don't want to get blamed that a thumb stud came loose or something. So just going to put it back in there, use my Weehaw bits, and tighten that down securely. And it'll be back to original shape. Those little boogers can be a pain in the butt. There we go. Alright. Alrighty. Like I said, this is a spring assist. And I let it soak, so it's got a lot of cleaning fluid in there. Set it back on the Hapstone just to hold it in place, and broke out the microscope again just so I could take a look at that edge there. As you can see, it's definitely got a gloss. Yeah, let's see if we can get you a better view of it here. See that? So see, it's pretty shiny, but you still got some scratches in there. So working it a little slower, spending a little bit more time with each stone would have cleaned that up a little bit better. Then we could have worked it with the Spyderco ceramic stones. That would have took it up to close to 5,000. And then we have a 6,000 polishing tape we could have put on there. And then with the compound, it would have been a complete mirror finish. But we're not going to do that here. This is a free job I'm doing as a favor for a coworker, and the knife's probably just going to be abused anyway. It's not a show knife or anything. I'll do that to one of my knives, and I'll make a video showing you that, taking it to an absolute mirror polish. So stay tuned for that. Right now we're just going to take this, put it on a leather strop, and see how sharp it got. Alright, so I grabbed one of my little kangaroo leather strops I got from Grid-O-Matic for about 10 bucks. I put some of my Venev Diamond stropping compound. I'm really not sure how they rate these, and most of the language is not in English. So I think it's a 1 micron. Anyway, we got to set the angle, make sure the angle's still good, because we unclamped the knife and clamped it back in. So I'm going to make sure I get it back to my, and also the strop is a different width. So make sure we get it back to the proper bevel angle, and then work that leather strop in one direction. That way you don't cut it. Work both sides of it, and then we're ready to pull the knife out and try it out. But before we do, let's go ahead and break out my my regular hand strop that I got some green compound on. This is Old Faithful. I've been using it for a long time. I have a new one I bought that I'm going to put some of the diamond paste on here, but this is just the green compound that comes with the strop. It's got a suede side that I have up now. I usually work it on there first, and then you'll see me flip it over here in a second and work the other side on the smoother side. Now, a lot of people don't put compound on the smooth side, and I haven't added any for a long time. It's just to kind of finish it off and help clean the compound off of the knife. But you know, this is my favorite part of sharpening a knife, is the stropping. It's a certain satisfaction you get, the way the blade feels dragging it against the leather. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm funny, but you know, it's a knife hobby. That's why I'm in it, to do cool stuff like this. Alright, so let's clean it up here a little bit. And it's not looking bad. It's got a nice shine to it, you know. It's not perfect, but didn't set out to make a perfect mirror. It's just set out to help Derek with his blade and spend an evening just putting a nice edge on it. And I think it's gonna do him well. And if he takes care of it, it should last a while. Alright, so we are getting close to wrapping up this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. I think the little digital microscope is really cool. I think I'm going to use it all the time. I'll keep my eye out for maybe a little bit better, more robust model, but it'll work for now. Also, don't forget, knife giveaways. Got 2 knife giveaways. You got to be subscribed. I have a Spyderco Bird Cara 2 that I'm giving away at the end of this month. So find that video. Make sure you enter. All you got to do is be subscribed to the channel and find the video and put on the video and in the comments, I want this knife. Also, the Benchmade tagged out. That's going to be given away when I hit 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you're one of those subscribers and make sure you find that video, view the video, and comment, I want this knife, so you are entered in the tag out giveaway too. Other than that, thanks for viewing. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it. That's what keeps the channel going. Thank you.